Well, our next guests are two parts of the most anticipated movie of the year. Last night, Baz Luhrmann's Elvis premiered on the Gold Coast, and tonight it is Sydney's turn, taking an in-depth look at Elvis's colourful and troubled life. The film features breakout star Austin Butler as the king of rock and roll, and Oscar winner Tom Hanks as his infamous manager, Colonel Tom Parker. And I am thrilled to say that joining us live from the Elvis red carpet, please welcome the incomparable Tom Hanks and Baz Luhrmann.
Oh, but it's Baz Luhrmann. It's Baz Luhrmann. Australia's own Baz Luhrmann. He grew up in a town where, swear to God, the Bee Gees once drove through. You told me this.
Yeah, that actually happened. He remembers everything. I'm not telling you any of my secrets
What
anymore.
goes together better than Australia, Baz Luhrmann and the Bee Gees?
I'm a simple country boy. That's why I'm wearing these pearls.
They're going to light up later on, just like the Sydney Harbour is. A little laser light show is going to show up.
You say like vivid. Too many bright lights and sparkles. It's not me.
Don't believe that for a second, Baz. Congratulations to both of you on the movie. It is an absolute knockout. Tom, if I can begin with you, how does it feel to be back down under showcasing this fabulous movie where it was all made?
Well, let me tell you something about the city of Sydney. It's very big in our family. The notoriety of Sydney is, quite frankly, not just in the Hanks family, but around the world, because Sydney is where I caught COVID.
You're welcome.
We said we weren't going to mention it.
We weren't going to mention it, I know, but listen, it all worked out.
What did I do?
Here we are again. But if you're going to say, Tom, any happy memories of Sydney? Yeah, I got a couple of memories of Sydney, and it had to do with a pandemic that traveled around the world and locked us down. But that was then, this is now. It's all right now.
It's the gift that keeps on giving, Tom.
Baz,
Right.
It's Darren. We know you love a red carpet, but what's more nervous for you right now? Expectations of the movie or that belt you're wearing, the opportunity to showcase these incredible fashions? What's more exciting?
I mean, I was saying here earlier, you know, I used to come to this theatre when I was 20 to come to the Sydney Film Festival, buy a ticket, watch, 24-hour movies. And now I'm back here and I brought, we made this entire film, every frame of it, in Australia. One of America's great stories here in this country. Giant red carpet, and more importantly, no belt, but I do have a very expensive ring, just saying.
It's fabulous. I'm obsessed.
Tom, I read that there was actually some hesitation on your part to take on this role, and then Baz convinced you. What did it take for him to get you over the line?
Well, I'd like to think that I had the job as soon as he came into my office. And you did come to me. You did. You came to me.
I was humming an ahhing.
And they said, Baz wants to come by and talk about Elvis. And my first question was why, and my second question was when. When he came in and he said, look, this is going to be a two-hander. This is going to be an equal to Sir Falstaff and young Prince Henry, young Hal. Because it is the story about there would have been no Elvis, there would have been no Colonel Tom Parker without Elvis Presley, without a doubt. But there also would have been no Elvis Presley without Colonel Tom Parker. And I had never seen a photograph of Colonel Tom Parker. I had never heard his voice. I had no idea what he looked like or even what countenance he filled in Elvis's life, outside of the legendary aspect of a manipulator, a puppet master. And the long saga from that was, he's a man with an awful lot of resources at his disposal, so he had a huge book about Colonel Tom Parker that was loaded with photographs as well as anecdotes. And when I took a look at this mystery guy, I said, first of all, I'm not exactly a dead ringer for the man. But if you're going to trust me in the hands of some of the most supreme makeup artists and artists with absolutely superlative hands I was in, I said, let's figure this out together. I'm your man.
Baz.
To be honest with you,
Go ahead, Baz.
Say. No, I'm just saying it's amazing. I think just sitting there talking about the relationship between the grand seller and the artist. I don't know. I think we had I knew Tom a little bit socially, But immediately we started a conversation that we're continuing to this day. And you know that conversation was about those two things, those two big American things, you know? The new, the soul, the art, and the big sell. Yeah,
Beautiful.
that's the story.
You were given the keys to Graceland, Baz, which is a dream come true. I've been there. Obviously, most people have an idea of this mysterious palace, but you were given the keys to everything. How hard was that to give those keys back, and what secrets did you find, and did you sneak anything home?
Just saying. I haven't noticed it's missing yet. I mean, I was at Graceland's running around at night, you know.
Oh, yeah.
They sell them at the gift shop for
Tom, I want to know whether you had conversations about the sort of true Elvis story between the two of you. You know, you're the American, you've got the authenticity to do all this. Baz is an Aussie that sort of rocks up telling the Elvis story.
Well, the Elvis story is loaded with myth and it's loaded with tropes, and we've seen it again and again. What Baz was interested in, and this is what was the great attraction for me, was this untold story about this relationship between these two guys. And I'd always heard that the Colonel was a crook, he was a thief, he was an evil manipulator, and believe it or not, Priscilla Presley herself and Jerry Schilling of the original Memphis Mafia came by our house back when Baz was down in Australia, and I was prepared to hear horror stories about the man, but both Jerry and Priscilla, Mrs. Elvis Presley, said he was one of the most delightful men she had ever met. He brightened up every room that he came into, and he never stopped taking care of her, and he never said no. He always said, yes, 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 let me take care of it. Now, that's a fascinating thing to hear, but it's also a symbol of just what a diabolical genius he was.
Yeah.
Because even Priscilla said, you must understand this about Colonel Tom Parker. He was not my husband's manager. He was his promoter. And there's a very huge difference between those two words.
You know what? I just remembered something. I don't know if we've ever talked about it, but Priscilla spoke at the Colonel's funeral, and she gave a very touching speech about him. And at the end, she said, just finally, you better check your wallet before you leave, right? So I think they used to say he's a scoundrel with a twinkle in his eye.
I'm trying to steal these rings off of the man right now.
You know what? People
like
loved it.
the two of you,
they loved
Tom
it.
and Baz.
They loved it. They love being hoodwinked. The snow job. They love the snow job.
Tom and Baz, it is such a treat to have you on the show. We better let you go. There's a red carpet just waiting for you. Enjoy the premiere, and thanks so much for chatting to us on the Sunday Project. All the best.